All right, let's tackle a really tough topic, the so-called sword verses in the Quran.
You've probably seen verses like this one. Taken alone, they sound like a call for violence.
So what's the full story? We're just going to look at the text right around it. Our method is simple. Just read what comes right before and right after the verse. Okay, let's start with the most famous one, Quran 9:5, often called the verse of the sword. But now watch what happens when you add in the verses right next to it. See? The text right before and after carves out some big exceptions to the rule. So it's actually about specific treaty breakers. Treaties are honored, and asylum is granted.
All right, next example. This one also seems like a pretty broad command, right?
But look, the verse right before it sets a huge condition. Only fight those who fight you. And then the verse after says if they stop, you have to stop too. So again, it's clearly defensive. And it's totally conditional on their aggression. Okay, one last case. This one seems to be about people who turn away from the faith. But the very next verse lays out some really clear exceptions to that command.
Basically, if they're neutral or want peace, the instruction to fight is off the table.
When you look at all these cases together, you start to see a really clear pattern. Yeah, it's a set of rules for defensive fighting, and they come with some super strict limits. The Quran also has something to say about forcing belief, and this verse is crystal clear. Here's another one. It asks a question that basically argues against the whole idea of forcing belief. And this third verse just comes right out and says it. Belief is a personal choice. So putting it all together, these aren't just random universal commands for violence. Instead, they look a lot more like rules of engagement for specific historical conflicts. Which really makes you think, right? How much does context change how we read any important text?